like this?
Hi, I'm Gudel reporting for Xes.com. We're here celebrating the Science and Technology kickoff. As you can see, there's a lot of action happening around. We've got a competition with the basketball students. There's so much stuff going on. Marc Garneau will be talking very shortly, and we'll be hearing more of what he has to say.
Of many, we hope. My name is Eric Kuzmierczak, and I am the program manager for WEtech Alliance, which is organizing this event here today. The open house showcases the incredible programs we have in our community related to science, technology, and innovation. This week, General Motors announced that it will build a new innovation and technology center across the river, and that they will be hiring 1,800 engineers, IT specialists, and skilled workers. This is the future we must prepare for by planting the seeds today, by encouraging more young people to pursue education and careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And this is what today is all about. We are grateful to the Windsor Public Library for jumping on board this program so enthusiastically and so fully and helping us to host this event. There is a reason why the library has received numerous awards as champions of innovation. So let's give it up for the library. We also want to thank the many partners that have made today so special, including local industry members such as Brave Controls Solutions, Caltex Textron, GM, and Centerline, just to name a few. Community partners such as the Windsor Express men's basketball team, Hagforge, the Professional Engineers of Ontario, the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, Science City, Windsor Police, and of course, the Ontario Trillium Foundation. I would also like to thank St. Clair College, the University of Windsor, both the Catholic and the public school boards for their support of an expanding regional robotics program. A big thank you goes to Sandwich High School Sabre Bites for their hard work raising awareness for FIRST robotics in Canada and in this region. A special Windsor welcome goes to our out-of-towners, to the representatives of FIRST Canada who traveled all the way from Pickering, to the Governor Simcoe Symbotics FIRST robotics team who came all the way down from St. Catharines to be here, and to the LEGO robotics team from Wheatley. Thank you very much for making the trek. On that note, it is my pleasure to welcome to the stage a Canadian hero who, I will venture a guess, has traveled the furthest out of all of us. And I'm not just talking about Montreal. Dr. Marc Garneau is the first Canadian astronaut into space, and he was the president of the Canadian Space Agency. He received a degree in engineering physics from the Royal Military College and a PhD in electrical engineering from Imperial College of Science and Technology. Marc joined the Navy, the Canadian Navy, and served on the HMCS Algonquin before being selected the one out of 4,000 candidates to fly aboard the Shuttle Challenger. Marc has the honor of having a high school named after him, two in fact, the Marc Garneau Collegiate Institute in Toronto and the ESP Marc Garneau in Trenton, Ontario.
The launch, spectacular. The sight, exhilarating. But this is a scientific mission, and already the science has run into problems. The satellite Sally Ride was to deploy, but stuck for a while.
We recommend both translation and rotation.
Okay, Dave. And I'm going to have to move it up just a little bit to get it out of the way.
As for Garneau, he's discovered weightlessness in space, and it looks as if he loves it. But he's a scientist too, and over the next 8 days, he'll carry out 10 Canadian experiments on space sickness and a space vision system, among others. Meanwhile, Challenger will orbit the planet 192 times, carrying Marc Garneau on his great adventure. Eve Savory, CBC News, at the Kennedy Space Center.
Thanking EREC and WEtech Alliance for organizing this fabulous day, and I want to thank you all for coming because you're clearly a really enthusiastic audience. It's great to see so many young people, some teachers, some parents, and thank you all for coming out today to talk about something that's very, very important, robots. And it's a real pleasure for me to be here and to, as EREC said, I told him that some of the footage there I've never actually seen, particularly my mother talking and my wife and my brother, because of course I was inside the shuttle doing my work up there. But I've had the extraordinary privilege of going into space on 3 occasions. That was my first flight. I call that my black hair flight. My second flight was my dark gray hair flight, and my third flight was my light gray hair flight. And now I've sort of switched careers, but I've had the extraordinary privilege of going around the planet about 450 times in the course of my 3 flights and having a good look at planet Earth. And the reason that I got to go around and to become an astronaut is because of a particular robot. And that robot, of course, is the Canadian arm, which we all call the Canadarm. It is precisely because in the 1970s, Canada saw that the United States was building the space shuttle. And the NASA plan was to have an arm on that shuttle. And Canada said to NASA, we'd like to build that arm for you. And to make a long story short, NASA said, yes, we'd like you to build that arm for us. And it was the National Research Council and a company called Spar Aerospace that got together and built that incredible robot called the Canadarm. I've had the privilege of using it twice. On my second mission, STS-77, I had to capture a satellite that we had released a few days before, and I had to bring the arm in and grab it and put it back in the payload bay so we could take it back down to Earth. And on my last flight, which was an International Space Station building mission, I had to take a big piece of the International Space Station that weighed about 17 tons, take it out of the cargo bay and attach it to the International Space Station. And again, it was the arm that was doing this. So the arm was capable of doing very fine tasks and also lifting some pretty heavy weights and doing it with great precision. And let me tell you, it was a real treat, a real honor for a Canadian to be able to use that Canadian arm, that Canadian designed arm. And it wasn't an easy task to build that robotic arm. As you all know, it's like a human arm. It has joints at the shoulder, it has one joint at the elbow, which can move like this, and it has joints at the wrist. And this arm had to be no more than 1,000 pounds, about 450 kilograms at the time, which was a very difficult thing to do because it was 50 feet long, about 15 meters long. And to build it, they had to use special materials. Instead of using metals for the booms, they had to use carbon epoxy materials, graphite epoxy materials, carbon composites we call them, to make it super, super light. And each of the joints had motors in them, they had brakes in them, and they could move with incredible precision, because if you wanted to move something that you were holding on to, and you wanted to move it in a particular direction, you could do it in a straight line, but you had to have a computer that was telling each joint how much to move at the same time so that you could go in that straight line. It It wasn't just a question of moving one joint, then moving another joint, then moving another joint. They were all moving at the same time so that you could go in a straight line. So this was an incredible accomplishment, and the arm performed every single time it was used on the shuttle. The shuttle flew about 135 times. Most of the time the arm was on it, and it performed perfectly. Every time that it was up there, and of course we were all so proud of seeing the word Canada on it. It was really a demonstration of what Canada can do. And that's why I'm so happy to be part of this today. Congratulations to the Saber Bites and their fabulous robot that can shoot hoops much better than I can. I tried. Took me 4 shots to get one in. It was doing them one after the other. Really a demonstration of what young people can do if they put their hearts to it. And I know they had some help from mentors, and that's great. The mentors from the University of Windsor and St. Clair College, and a whole bunch of enthusiastic people that helped them along the way. And look how far they went. And robots are very important. We know, I mean, you all know from the automotive industry being very big here, how present robots are in a lot of the manufacturing process, but they're used in a lot of other industries as well. But most of the time when you read what's on that robot, it says made in Germany, it says made in Japan, it says made in the United States, made in South Korea. Why can't it be made in Canada? Because we have the capacity to do it, and we could do it. We're going to need a lot of robots for the future. We need them for future things that we're going to build, and also because they wear out and you have to replace them. Canada could be one of the leaders in that area, and that's why it's so encouraging to have this kind of a day, to have the first program, robotics program, that's encouraging young people through competition to get involved with robots. So this is a great second event. Is this the first? This is the first. The first of many to come, and I'm sure that there will be some exciting projects in the years to come, and that Windsor will be one of the places where we will look to talk about, you know, the capabilities that have been developed here in the field of robotics technology. So congratulations to you all. Just want to tell you very quickly what it's like to fly in space. When you're sitting on the launch pad and it's 2.5 hours prior to liftoff, it's the hardest time in your life. It's the hardest time because there's nothing you can do except sit in your chair. And they've closed the door and they've wished you good luck, and they've all left, and there's only you, the crew, sitting in that shuttle, and you saw the picture of it. And we're not very good at just sitting there and doing nothing. And I can remember thinking a lot. It's a very important time when you realize that in 2.5 hours something momentous is going to happen in your life. And I remember saying to myself, did I tell my family how much I love them? Because, you know, you're aware of the fact that this can be a hazardous thing to do. Did I say goodbye to my children the way I wanted to? And those kinds of things. It was a very important thing for me to feel that I had said goodbye the right way. I thought about, was I ready for this mission? I did not want to make Canada, I wanted to make Canada proud of me that day, and I wanted to make sure that I was going to live up to their expectations, because Canadians were watching, and it was the first time a Canadian went up into space. So I also felt I've got to really do well on this mission because a lot of Canadians are looking at me. I also asked myself, had I paid all my bills? That's very important. And anyway, that 2.5 hours, fortunately, does finally wind down, and then the action begins. In 6 seconds prior to liftoff, the first engine lights, the second one at 4 seconds, the third at 2 seconds. And if they all light up properly, you are going. Too late to change your mind. You are going into space, and the 2 big solid rocket boosters light up, and you are off the launch pad, and it's only going to take you 8.5 minutes to get to space. And you're going from 0 to 28,000 kilometers an hour. That's 8 kilometers per second. In fact, I came from Montreal today, You know, it would have only taken me a few minutes if I'd been on the shuttle. That's how quickly you're going, because you, in fact, have to go that fast to stay. Those of you who know your orbital mechanics will know you have to go that fast to stay in orbit. If you don't go that fast, you're going to come back down. And that's why it only takes an hour and a half to go around the Earth. I got to go around 16 times every day, and I had 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets. And it was really an incredible experience, particularly having the chance when I wasn't busy doing my work to look out the window and to look down at our beautiful planet. And I went over Canada many times on my first and my last flight, and I had the chance to realize how beautiful a country we live in, how vast. We live on the second largest country on Earth. It is rich in resources. It is rich in forests. It is rich in agricultural lands. We know it's rich in minerals and other natural resources. Those you can see. The things that you can't see is that it's also a great democracy. A country where we live together, where we care for each other, where we're proud of the way that we have found a model to live with, where we welcome people from other countries that come and enrich this country. I thought about those things when I was up in space. I realized how fortunate I was to live in Canada. And that is something that I will never forget, that chance to see my country from space. Anyway, I'm not going to go on too long because I know there are some questions and I'd love to answer them. So thank you very much.
We have about 15 minutes for questions, and I'll just take the liberty to ask the first one if you don't mind. So, as the first Canadian into space, did the Americans let you watch Hockey Night in Canada?
I'm sure you could probably watch it today because since my first flight in 1984, they've made quite a bit of progress in terms of uplinking stuff to the shuttle. But back there, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to do it. I flew from the 5th of October until the 13th of October. In fact, 28 years ago today, I was orbiting the Earth. But back then, we didn't have the chance to do that. Today, it's probably something they can just uplink, and somebody in their spare time can look at a good hockey game, if there was a hockey game to watch right now, of course. But no, they've made a lot of progress, and in fact, now you can link up Skype, if you like, with your family almost every day during the mission, so it's a lot better. Yes?
Is Pluto real?
Is Pluto real? Now, of course, Pluto is real. I didn't see it because it's still a long ways away. If you imagine, because you're thinking about basketballs today, imagine the Earth as a basketball. When you're on the shuttle, you're about this far off the surface of the shuttle. So you're still pretty darn close to the Earth. I can see 1,500 kilometers in front of me, but I'm still very close to planet Earth. I'm only 300 or 400 kilometers above the surface of the Earth, which is a fabulous vantage point, but I'm still very far away from Pluto, and yes, Pluto really does exist.
What does a sunset and a sunrise look like?
Well, they're beautiful because what you're doing is when the sun rises, you're in the darkness before that, and what you do is you see the sun coming up over the rim of the Earth. But what you see is, instead of on Earth where you look at a sunrise here in a flat field, you see it coming above. But there you're seeing quite a bit of curvature, and so it comes up against this sort of curved Earth, and it comes up very, very quickly. It's up, you know, you can, when you first start to see the edge of the sun peeking above the Earth, 4 minutes later, you see it completely. So that's how quickly it happens. Yep.
Did we look better than the U.S.?
Do we look better than the U.S.? Always. We always look better than the U.S. Yes, sir.
Does space have a smell or a taste?
Does space have a smell or a taste? One of the things that they do, and I'm going to get technical here for a minute, is they try to remove all the smells that come off. Well, you know how, when you've all been in a new car, you know how a car smells when it's brand new. And that's because it's off-gassing. There are volatiles that are coming off the different materials within the car, And you know, we like that smell. It's probably not good for us, but we kind of like that smell as it comes off, because it's just sort of a natural phenomenon. After a while, it all off-gasses. Well, on the shuttle, we can't have a lot of things off-gassing, because that would not be good for our health, because we're in a contained area. So everything is extensively off-gassed beforehand. For example, even a camera, they take off the sort of the fake leather cover on it, and so that it's just metal, so that you don't have any off-gassing. That's not to say that the humans on board don't produce any smells, but as far as the equipment is concerned, there's very little in terms of smells. In fact, if there is a smell, it's kind of a metallic smell on board. Yes, now somebody who hasn't, okay, there.
Have you ever gone supernova?
Have I gone supernova?
Like on the ship.
Okay, only in my mind, but I'm not sure what you mean by going supernova. What for you is going supernova?
Usually on re-entry when a ship is going extremely fast.
Yes.
And heat builds up on the nose cone.
Yes. Well, you brought up a very good point, because when you go up into space, you have to get up to 25 times the speed of sound, 28,000 kilometers an hour. That's how fast you have to be going. Now, the challenge is when you come back down to Earth, you've got to get rid of all that speed. And so the way you do it on your way back, as you enter the atmosphere, you begin to basically brake on the thickening atmosphere as you come lower and lower. And that does heat up the molecules that are surrounding the shuttle, and in fact there's a kind of a pinkish orange glow that surrounds the shuttle. And yes, I've seen it, and it is spectacular, but fortunately we're protected by the thermal tiles that surround the shuttle. Otherwise we would disintegrate, just like most satellites when they re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. They all burn up, and you see them sometimes streaking in the sky, and they disintegrate. We have these thermal tiles because some parts of the shuttle will warm up to over 2,000 degrees. And if we didn't have those special thermal tiles, which was the problem when Columbia returned from Earth to Earth in 2003, then we would not survive re-entry. But yes, we get that nice glow on our way back. We happen to choose the right area to study in. I'm an engineer. I'm an electrical engineer, and astronauts are chosen from people who are either scientists, engineers, or medical doctors. Those are the three areas where we choose astronauts from. And the other part of it, of course, is you have to take care of your body, be in good health. You don't have to be an athlete, but you have to be in good health. So that means good nutrition, do exercise, keep yourself in good condition. And the third thing is you have to develop your communicating skills. In other words, you have to be able to get up like I'm doing today and talk to people. And that's important because in reality, if you go up on the shuttle or on some other, go to the International Space Station, you have to communicate well with the rest of the crew. And so communicating is very, very important. Yes?
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming to Windsor and sharing with us your stories. And thank you to WEtech for bringing Mr. Garneau down to Windsor so he could share with us his experience as a true Canadian hero in our midst. And such excitement and such energy in here today. And this is so exciting to see, and I'm so pleased to be a part of it. So thank you very much for allowing me to be here today. And of course, we're kicking off National Science and Technology Week, so it's great to see projects here from the high school level and grade schools here, and we have Science City and St. College and the University of Windsor.
Well, let's see the robots.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing stuff.
No, this one I think is the school.
Stand here, I'll take a picture of you with the robot. Stand right there. Jiva, like Stephen but with a J.
C50, go.
Hi, I'm Betty Gudel reporting for Xees.com, and today we have an inspiring astronaut, Jeevan. Jeevan, how are you?
Good.
So, do you want to be an astronaut when you grow up, just like Marc Garneau?
I don't really think so.
Do you like science?
Yeah.
So did you like seeing the first astronaut in Canada?
Yeah.
And are you going to do really well at science because he told you that science is really important?
Aha.
Good for you. I'm Betty Gudel from Xees.com, and I'm here talking with Jeevan. Thank you, Jeevan.
Can you look up the line
That's for a company. If you can find that, that'd be great. And I don't know if you're going to be doing any other interviews. Probably not.
No, I'm fine. This is for XC8YZ.
Yes. And you know what? My daughter's name is Isabel. ISABELLE. You know what's nice about you is because it seems like it's so far out of reach by hearing someone who actually did it.
So I sign over here. Sorry, it doesn't show up too well, but anyway, it's there. I'll do one here just in case.
I'm Betty Gudel reporting from Xees.com, and I have here with me.
I'm Constable Trombley with the Winter Police Explosives Disposal Unit.
And we're going to be discussing this fantastic robot. Tell me about this robot.
Yes, it's called an RMI. It's a Remote Mobile Investigator. It's about 10 years old right now. We use it has 4 cameras on it. We use this robot if we get any kind of suspicious package calls anywhere. It's our first line of defense. We send the robot in first with the cameras and the claw to deal with any kind of package. It saves a technician from having to go in manually in a bomb suit. So it's the safest approach for us to use the robot.
And how many of these do you have available?
This is the only one that we have right now.
And are there others in Ontario?
Yeah, all the services in Ontario have their own. Some have the new iCore. We still have the PEDSCO. We're just waiting to see how long this is going to last, and it's still a great tool for us, and it
is a great tool because it saves a lot of lives.
Yes, absolutely it does. Like I said, it's first line of defense. We want to send the robot in always before we send a manual tech in to deal with any package.
And especially ever since 9/11, there's been a lot of different kind of packages and things, and I think people get scared.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, something's left at a bus station or just unattended. People don't know what it is. So as long as we can, we always send the robot in first.
That is amazing. And how much would a piece of equipment like this cost, roughly?
Roughly, it's about $120,000 brand new at the time.
Which is great because lives are priceless.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm Betty Gudel reporting from Xees.com. Hi, Betty Gudel reporting from Xees.com, and I am here speaking with Marc Garneau, the first astronaut ever in Canada.
Yes, in fact, I'm having a great day here today. The focus is on robotics, and of course I've met the Saber Bites from Sandwich High School, who've got a fantastic robot that shoots hoops And I've also just met a bunch of young students from grade 5 and grade 6 from a school in Wheatley, and they're also doing some excellent robotics using Lego equipment. So it's a great fun day, and it's nice to be here.
Like I said before, you are an amazing inspiration. You are the true thing. You show all these kids that being an astronaut is not fantasy, it's attainable. You can do it.
Absolutely. When I was growing up, it was kind of a fantasy, but today it's a reality. There have been 9 Canadians who have flown. I happen to be the first. So today, kids growing up who really want to set their sights on perhaps one day being an astronaut can do so, because it's a reality today.
And I have to ask you, what do you think of Windsor?
It's a great place. I've come to Windsor on many occasions over the years, and it's always great to be back here. It's a beautiful part of Canada, and it's great weather today. And most of all, the people are friendly, and the enthusiasm is awesome.
And WEtech Alliance has done some great things with robotics and technology. What do you think of their company?
WEtech Alliance has done a great job, first of all, organizing today, and there was a huge turnout. It was very, very encouraging. First Robotic Programs is another organization that fosters these competitions for robotics. That's great. The Trillium Foundation gave out some money today to encourage young people to get into robotics. I think it's the future, and judging from the enthusiasm today, I think we may have some future entrepreneurs in our midst.
How does robotics, how is that changing the future of jobs? Medicine, technology, cars?
Well, it's technology. If you look at how a lot of things are manufactured today, and here in Windsor, of course, people know about the automotive sector, a lot of robots are used in helping to manufacture cars. It's people, but robots as well. So robots are very important in manufacturing, and Canada at the moment is not the country that's producing the robots. It's other countries. We import them. Why aren't we building our own robots here in Canada? Because it's a growth industry, and Canada has all the brain power to do it. So this is the kind of event today that encourages young people to think about robots.
And one more question. I know you're looking for the dream team to run for the Liberals again. Have you found them?
I'm assembling the dream team, and I'm very encouraged every day. I have a great platform that I would like to present to the Liberal Party and to Canadians, and I'm encouraged by the response so far. So pretty soon, I hope to have the dream team together.
Well, I would vote for you. You're a great inspiration. I'm Betty Gudel reporting from Xees.com, talking here with Marc Garneau. Thank you so much, Marc.
My pleasure.